This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do strongly encourage you to like and share them on social media. It's time for Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce, US 1 at Orange Avenue across from City Hall in the Crass Plaza, formerly the historic arcade building. This morning, Joanne has a special guest with us, the one and only from Tradition Family Chiropractic, Dr. Ravi.
Good morning, everyone. And it's the special third Thursday of the month. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, me too, because I know you're going to get some good calls today.
Yes.
And by the way, the number's 340-1590 for any questions regarding chiropractic practice. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Regarding chiropractic practice, any questions? 340-1590 this hour. Okay.
So this morning we're going to continue the tradition with the breathing exercise.
The breathing exercises. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll do 3 sets of through the nostrils, inhaling deeply, slowly for 5 seconds. Then we'll hold it for 5 seconds, and then we'll slowly release for 5 seconds. It takes 15 seconds for each one of these.
And everyone has 15 seconds in their
right.
day.
And we're going to take a full 45 seconds to do it 3 times.
Let's do it.
And that will help. So everybody ready? First, we're going to ask you to release all negativity and everything, all the drama, everything, and with that big exhale before we begin. And we're going to begin right now. Let it out. And now, through the nostrils, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. The most refreshing 45 seconds of your life.
The most refreshing, and everyone should be doing this every day.
You can do it
as soon as they wake up.
Yeah, anytime you want, throughout the day, all day long if you want.
Of course. Decreasing stress.
Decreasing stress and opening up to yourself, really. You could get to know yourself a whole lot better, because when you concentrate on the breathing, that's all that's important at that time. It allows your brain to eliminate all the noise that we go through every day, right?
Yes, yes. So, Cliff, last time we were on the radio show, we spoke about arthritis.
Right.
So
the A through Z of health and wellness. Yeah.
Yeah. So take a guess what today is.
Today is Thursday.
B's. So we're going to be talking about bone health.
Bone health.
Bone health. And so we have.
Yes, you're a chiropractor. Duh, no wonder.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So we have 206 bones in our body, and our bones protect our function, our movement.
Right.
It also acts as a framework. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about protection, it helps to protect organs, and also it protects our immune system. And many people don't realize that our bones, especially our femur, our thigh, the large bulky bones, actually help to reproduce blood cells.
Wow.
And that's like our immune system. So our T cells, our B cells that help fight foreign invaders that come into our body. Ooh, right? Okay. But something that has come across in the last few months in my practice are patients that are coming in with osteoporosis and osteopenia. So today's show is going to be talking and diving deeper into some lifestyle approaches, some therapeutic approaches, and some nutritional support that people can take to avoid these conditions. Sounds good, right?
Well, sounds good.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about Joanne maybe coming back next time with C being calcium. Is calcium something you should take?
Oh, that's very important. Yeah, we'll get into that.
She'd know about that. So
she
we'll
will,
ask her.
Yeah.
Because
and,
you have to take other supplements with it to make it digest properly and absorb properly.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get to that at some point.
But just like how blood pressure or heart disease is silent killer, osteoporosis is easily linked into that, because you don't really get diagnosed with it until you have a fracture, or your doctor is doing a really thorough exam and recommends you getting a DEXA scan done, which is a type of scan that they look at the bone density.
Now,
and
is bone degeneration the same thing as osteoporosis?
So it falls into that. So
Okay.
what happens is with bone degeneration is that your bones are degenerating. You're not producing a lot of the really good blood cell, the bone cells.
Not just women either.
Not just women. So let me go over some statistics here. So fragility fractures, so falling type of fractures, it's been estimated by year 2025 that it's going to cost our healthcare system $25 billion.
Ooh.
That's a huge number, $25 billion. And so it affects nearly 75 million people in the U.S., Europe, and even Japan. 1 in 3 women typically have this condition, and 1 in 5, men over the age of 50 also experience these conditions. And especially for men and women, it's definitely linked to hormonal conditions. So there's like fixed risk factors that cause us to become osteopenia and osteoporotic. I'm going to be using these 2 words. So osteopenia is when the bone is losing its density. It's not a diagnosis. Osteoporosis is the diagnosis. And so based on your scan that a doctor would do, called a DEXA scan, it's measured on a standard deviation scale. So it's measured between 0 to -1. 0 and -1 is going to be normal. -1 to -2.5 is osteopenic, so bone thinning. And osteoporosis is the condition, and that's anywhere that is larger than -2.5. And they mainly check this in the lower lumbar spine, so the lower back, and also the hip levels. And so the fixed risk factors that causes us to have osteoporosis could be age. And so we know that bone absorption and the peak of bone building happens between the age of 25 to 30. Slowly after that, it starts slowly degrading. Also, female sex is also another fixed factor in having osteoporosis. So when we look at this, especially between when women hit menopause, they're not producing enough estrogen levels, and so this increases the chances of having their osteoclast or bone remodeling activity decreased. Family history is also another big one. Previous fractures. You're looking at other types of disease, rheumatoid arthritis, like the arthritis that we went through on last show, and hypogonadism in men, where the testosterone levels are typically lower and they're not able to produce osteoblasts, which are the bone-building cells. And today, what is exciting is the epigenetics that Joanne and I are really excited for, is because we control our genes. And so epigenetics is basically where we can basically alter our actual genes and not be destined to, a family history of these conditions. And so some of these big things are like alcohol, smoking, having a low body mass, our vitamin D intake, insufficient exercising, not eating properly, so eating disorders, and low dietary calcium intake. Another test that if someone that is suggesting that they may have osteoporosis or the condition osteopenia is when they lose their height, so less than 2 inches in a year.
I noticed that as I was growing up and became a teenager, my father appeared to be getting shorter and shorter, and it wasn't because I was growing. He was actually shrinking, and my children are older now, and they're saying I'm not quite as tall as I've always been. Although on the scale, the doctor's still what it's always been, 5'11".
Your dad was just shrinking. Did he have
Yeah.
osteoporosis? Do you know?
No, but he did have cancer in his vocal cords. He had a tracheotomy.
Oh, no.
He spoke with a buzzer,
Yes.
and and he lost a lot of weight, with all the cancers because they treat it, they make you cancer free, but 10 years later it comes back in another form.
Yeah, and when we're talking about cancer, we're looking at cancer treatments like chemotherapy. So some of the drugs that actually induce us going into an osteopenic stage and an osteoporosis condition is being on chemotherapeutic drugs, taking omeprazole or any type of proton pump inhibitors. So this is for patients that are on that have acid reflux.
Oh, okay.
So this actually decreased the osteoblasts, which osteoblasts are bone cells that help produce actual bone cells. And so these drugs decrease those osteoblast activity. Also, something like anti-epileptic drugs also do that as well, which the kids that I see in my practice, a lot of them come in not because they have epilepsy, but because they're taking care of their nervous system. I find that they're on a lot of these epileptic drugs, anti-epileptic drugs. And so looking for their future, we want to make sure that they know about these things so they can start supplementing.
Are those misdiagnoses, getting the non-epileptic drugs when they're prescribed them? Is that an error? Should they not do that, or
no? They're getting it because they're epileptic, so they have epilepsy, the seizures.
Right.
And so when I see them, I'm taking care of their nervous system, making sure their nervous system is functioning well.
Okay. That makes sense because especially if there's something going on in the spine.
Yeah, and many people, your spine is directly your lifeline, and so what protects that is that bony structure. And so, oftentimes is when we're looking at the spine, it can create. With my patients, we take the X-rays, so it helps to determine their bone structure. So if they have, signals of bone thinning or, where their bone is definitely fragile. So this now leads to having or a diagnosis of osteoporosis. Okay. Another telltale sign with osteoporosis and diagnosing it is low vitamin D levels. So vitamin D levels you want to make sure you're getting that checked yearly, and the range should be between 40 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. And anyone that is lower than that, what has been found is it actually causes you to trigger osteoclast activity. And so the osteoclasts break down bone. And so when you have too much osteoclast activity, it causes your calcium to not get into your bones. Ooh. It goes directly into your blood.
Ooh.
Yeah, so your vitamin D levels have a direct effect on your parathyroid gland, which does all this. So you want to make sure you're supplementing and getting proper vitamin D and looking at your blood work, making sure you're between the 40 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. Also, another type of test you can do is checking your overall body collagen levels. And through functional medicine doctors or holistic doctors, like in my practice, we do those types of tests to determine if you're at higher risk for developing these conditions.
Joanne has collagen in her store.
She has some great sources, of collagen.
Good stuff. Yeah.
So, we're a big fan of the Garden of Life, which I know she does some great sales on. So make sure if everyone is, which I think everyone should be on some type of collagen support, because the types of food that we're getting today doesn't help support our body with that. I want to move into some lifestyle recommendations, especially when it comes to looking things at functionally, things that we can do and things that we can control. I recommend for many of my patients that have osteoporosis is weight-bearing exercise. So actually doing some physical lifting weights, making sure that they're able to lift weights that they're able to tolerate. So, there's been numerous research shows that, lifting 4 4.5 times the body weight of the individual, actually helps to stress the bone and increases the osteoblast activity. So it helps to grow proper bone cells. You want to avoid sedentary lifestyles. So anyone that's sitting for a long period of time, and when I say long period of time, anytime more than 2 hours, making sure you're getting up at least for 5 minutes, 10 minutes after every hour, and, running up the stairs or just jumping on a rebounder.
Radio comes in handy because we leave the main studio and run back to the production room. Then we run over to another studio.
There you go, Cliff. You're getting your exercise.
Well, about an hour in the studio, and then I'm up. I'm up sometimes several times while I'm doing the show just to do a little stretching.
Yeah, that's important.
Because I'm in recovery from yet the double hip replacement, and it's almost a year later now, but I still have to get up and move around a lot.
It sounds like you need to get Joanne's rebounder that is easily able to be stored under your desk, so you're able to do this in between the shows. To build activity.
Is that like a little?
It's a mini trampoline.
Oh! I love those. Yeah. Now the surgeon told me don't get on an inversion table. Don't do that because that's obvious. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But as the muscles form around the prosthetic part of the hip replacement, maybe at some point I'll be able to. But I'm not
Eventually.
in no hurry.
No. Another big one is I advise my patients to reduce their alcohol intake. What we know with alcohol, it actually creates an acidic condition in our body, and it reabsorbs bone calcium.
And it's sugar. If you're diabetic, it's pure sugar.
It's pure sugar. Yeah. On top of this is the next thing is smoking. So advising, and getting into a smoke cessation program or decreasing the amount of smoking that is done daily. This also affects bone quality as well. Okay. And once again, support. We'll go through some more therapeutic and nutritional support. But another big one is supporting a healthy body weight. So what they found is that underweight individuals actually decreases their bone density mass. So increasing bone density in the body with increasing body mass. And I'm not saying, go to McDonald's and eat a lot of food to increase that.
Well, your heart
weight.
has to work harder if you've gained a lot of weight.
Yes, but so what we're talking about,
support.
You need so you want to make sure you're having proper exercise and a fitness routine in your daily activity.
Not just for the muscles, it's for the bones too. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
And avoiding sodas. With sodas, what happens is sodas contain, even carbonated drinks contain phosphoric acid. And so what this does, it elevates phosphorus in our body. And the phosphorus forces our body to excrete the calcium from the bone. So it leaches calcium out of the bone. So like Coca-Cola, Sprite, all these sugar beverages do this to the bone. So avoiding carbonated beverages.
This will be the show to listen to in the archives off of YouTube down the road.
Yes.
If we can get it to work.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. And another thing is supporting your body with chiropractic care. So with chiropractic care, we're very specific when we evaluate the spine. Like I said earlier, we take specific x-rays determining the position of the spine. And what we do find is that once the spine is in an abnormal position, it creates stress to that joint. And that, Cliff, is what we call degeneration.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So this degeneration happens where there's too much stress to that joint. It creates a lot of osteoclast activity, so the bone starts breaking down and it becomes unstable. And so just think of when your body is unstable, the foundation is not correct. And this leads to the aches, the pain, dysfunction, and even dis-ease because it starts putting stress on the nerves, right? And so with corrective chiropractic care that we do in my practice, I use some instruments such as the activator, which is a very cool device that helps to realign the spine, but don't put too much pressure on the joint. So some of my patients that are osteoporotic or have osteoporosis, this little device actually allows us to remove the interference from their spine and get pressure off the nerves. On top of this, many of our patients, after their adjustments, they go on a vibration plate. The vibration plate's set at a specific megahertz per second, and that helps to actually lay down more bone after the adjustment in those specific areas. It also helps to protect the muscle memory of the spine, so the spine holds its adjustment longer.
Wow. So those adjustments at the chiropractor really do help out. They help the bone itself regenerate.
Yes, and not when we talk about regenerate, we're talking about osteoblast activity,
Right.
so more healthier bone cells laying down, and we're giving the body the ability to heal. So when we take pressure off that joint, inflammation decreases. We're taking pressure off the nerve, so the nerve can now communicate to the organ, telling it what to do, how to function. And big thing here is we're increasing circulation to the body.
It's amazing how our bodies know what to do.
Yes, yeah.
know?
Going back to the x-rays, and when we take x-rays, one thing that I'm checking for is, especially if someone that has a history of osteoporosis or osteopenia, is making sure they have no compression fractures in their mid-back. And so a lot of people that are sedentary, that have a desk job, they're more prone to having these conditions, the compression fractures. So that's the stooped posture. So another thing, going back to the exercise, is making sure your posture is correct. Sitting up straight and tall, chest out. And, many of my patients, I tell them, make sure they're getting their proper exercise and their posture is correct. And they tell me it hurts.
Well, yeah.
It hurts because those muscles are worn out. They're not strong enough. So we have to build those muscles. So if you're listening to this radio show and you're behind a desk, make sure your chest is out, shoulders are back, and your eye is level with the horizon.
And if you're hanging around, pulling a walker around with you got to take a break from that and try standing straight up and lift your legs up when you walk and go heel to toe.
Yes.
Because shortly after the surgery, I was wobbling back and forth when I'd walk. And they corrected that in physical therapy to go from heel to toe with each foot, whichever one you start with, keep them both moving and lift the knees up a little bit.
Yeah, that's important.
That makes it perfectly straight with no wobble. When I start wobbling, it's because I'm tired and I'm walking wrong.
When you're not walking well, you're at increased risk of having falls.
Yeah.
And so when you fall, you end up right back in the hospital. And that is actually the number one cause for an elder to visit the hospital is falls.
Now, I heard that there's some statistics regarding falling and breaking a hip. There's some pretty scary statistics. I heard it was something like 1 out of 5 actually has a risk of passing away within a year of a hip fracture. Something like that.
I don't know this correct statistic, but before this, I used to be a nurse, and
So
a
you've seen
lot
a
of the
lot of-
elderly would come in because of falls,
Right.
and it's not because the fall they pass away; it's because of the other things that happen in the hospital
And also
that go wrong.
the bone in the hip breaks and say it ruptures intestines or something.
Not only that, but they're more sedentary, so they're not walking around more, so they're increased risk for pulmonary embolisms, so strokes. So this is why big hospital systems today, they have proper things in place where they're getting the patient up and moving around faster and not having them lay in the bed during the recovery time.
Yeah. They got to be able to get up and get around and keep those limbs moving.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions on osteoporosis or osteopenia or any bone health questions, give us a call, 772-340-1590. And we will be back to talk more about therapeutic diet and nutritional recommendations.
You're listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition with a special guest host this morning, Dr. Ravi from Tradition Family Chiropractic in Tradition. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Dr. Ravi at Tradition Family Chiropractic. We are dedicated to serving you and your family with integrity, compassion, and innovative care through the most advanced chiropractic care ever in chiropractic history, encouraging your health and your family's health to its maximum potential on a regular basis. Call us today at 772-345-0060 or schedule online at traditionhealth.com for your free consultation.
Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World, hoping that you visit my store and wellness center. We have incorporated cutting-edge services to help you feel better. Check out my online store at joannesnutritionworld.com. Really great deals and free shipping over $50. I am really hoping that all my listeners are taking time right now to get fresh air, to get exercise into their daily routine, keep hydrated, and get the proper amount of sleep. It's critical right now that attitude is everything. To please take time to laugh, to give yourself a break. You can find Nutrition World right on US 1 in Fort Pierce, across from Fort Pierce City Hall, in between Orange Avenue and Avenue A. Our phone number is 772-464-3598. Call me with any questions or concerns. All my best, Joanne.
Joanne's Nutrition World, now open from 10 to 4, Monday through Saturday. Call 464-3598.
WPTV's First Alert Weather on WPSL is brought to you by Seacoast Air Conditioning. Now with a look at our forecast, here's meteorologist Katya Hall.
Happy Thursday, sunshines. This afternoon, highs reaching the mid-80s, mostly sunny skies, and a few late-day showers tracking from southwest to northeast. Tonight, temperatures in the upper 60s under partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, highs in the mid-80s, staying mainly dry through the afternoon, then late-day showers and storms popping up, fizzling out by the evening. Saturday, morning lows in the mid-50s, highs in the upper 60s, mostly sunny skies and breezy north winds. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Katya Hall for WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
At Seacoast Air Conditioning, they believe in 3 basic fundamentals: answer the phone, show up on time, and fix the problem right the first time. Seacoast Air, family owned and operated since 1982, waiting to answer your call 24/7.
Comfort crisis, don't roast, call Seacoast.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Welcome back to Joanne's World of Nutrition, hosted this morning by Dr. Ravi.
Good morning, everyone. So to recap, what we're talking about is the letter B, bones, and how it supports our body. And clinically, or the condition that we're talking about is osteoporosis and osteopenia. And so we're going to dive right into the aspects of epigenetics and what we can do to control these conditions.
Yeah, you said you alter your genes?
We can alter our own genes with the choices that we make.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Genetics, not out of
so
our
just
reach.
like how we made that decision to do that breathing exercise, decreasing stress. What we know is stress actually eats up a lot of magnesium and vitamin Bs. So
That's why we'll feel so energy drawn. Energy that we need is drawn away
from the
negativity.
stress. Yeah. So in order for us to absorb all those great vitamin Bs that we're putting in our body, make sure you're doing the breathing exercise that we did in the beginning. But now going into some dietetic or therapeutic diet recommendations for anyone that has bone issues such as osteopenia and osteoporosis. This is going to be very important because I'm going to be talking a lot about different types of minerals and vitamins. The big one here is vitamin D. So what we know, vitamin D plays a regulatory role in the absorption of calcium and phosphorus. And vitamin D works synergistically with a lot of different glands, such as the parathyroid gland. So if we're known to have a parathyroid history in our family of cancers, making sure you're making that decision of supplying your body with the right vitamin D so your body's not secreting a lot of that calcium out into your blood and putting stress on that parathyroid gland. And so that decision that you make to increase your vitamin D decreases your chance of having those types of altering organ function. So you're not destined to the destiny of having cancer. The dietary recommendation for vitamin D on a normal basis should be 5,000 for a wellness recommendation that I recommend for my patients, 5,000 IUs daily. A lot of people that have poor immune system or just fighting off a flu or a virus typically can go up to 10,000 IUs. Okay. The best way to get vitamin D is through making sure it's a right supplement, but also getting out in the sun. Unfortunately, we don't get out in the sun enough.
That's a natural source of vitamin D.
The natural
right?
source, yeah.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we don't do that because we're stuck indoors behind a computer desk.
A little sun with a little supplement might work good together. Right?
Exactly, yeah. So making sure you're getting proper vitamin D intake. Once again, vitamin D levels, once they're low, it causes your parathyroid gland to trigger osteoclasts to release the calcium into the blood and not into the bone. Another big one here is making sure you're getting proper vitamin K in the body. Now, there's a lot of nutritional supplements for osteoporotic and osteopenic patients. One thing that you want to make sure you're doing is managing this with a healthcare provider or just checking out Joanne's Nutrition World. Because if you are on something like a blood thinner, you don't want to be taking vitamin K. So you want to make sure your healthcare provider is making sure you're taking the proper nutritional support for your bone health. And so there's two different types of vitamin K. K1, which basically plays a role in blood clotting, but it's also important for bone health in helping to release osteocalcin, which is basically helps to make up the bone matrix of the body. Vitamin K2, this is the minoquinone, and it's actually synthesized and made by the intestinal bacteria. So this is why our bacterial microbiome in our digestive system is very important. And it works synergistically with the other two that I'm going to talk about, calcium and magnesium, to build healthy bones as well. And so calcium works synergistically once again with vitamin K2, magnesium, and D. It's just basically the concrete of the bone. Many people fail to realize that you need magnesium as well. So making sure you're on a good magnesium support. All three of these are crucial in helping to build up the stability and the strength of the bone of itself. So when we look at dietary recommendations for calcium, I recommend a daily dose of 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams. And of course, this is based on age. So this is not recommended for a toddler or, a teen, but definitely in the age group of that 25 to even 60. So making sure you're getting proper calcium. Best sources of this is yogurt. So making sure it's grass-fed, grass type yogurt. So coming from the cows, the dairy product, it's all organic. Mm-hmm. Also sardines. So sardines, the actual skeleton of the sardines, the bone, actually has a lot of calcium in it. So making sure you're eating that as well. The salmon has great source of calcium.
And that has soft bones in it when it's cooked.
Yes, right? Yes. So that soft bone is basically where the calcium's coming from.
Jack mackerel as well.
Yes.
You get that in a
salmon too.
Salmon.
Yes.
Jack mackerel, yeah.
And turnips, kale, and greens also have calcium.
Swiss chard. Even
yeah.
collards.
Now, you don't want to cook it too much because you actually deplete the calcium content in it. So making sure you're just steaming it very lightly making sure it still has this crunchy appeal
Yeah,
to it.
you don't want it to have the consistency of spinach because that's a softer leaf to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, when we move into magnesium, I recommend a daily allowance, if you will, of at least 310 to 400 milligrams, once again, based on age and gender. So food quality that's high in magnesium is kale. Spinach is on this. Spinach, Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, black beans, and dark chocolate.
Oh,
Not
I'm
milk
glad
chocolate.
I'm glad you said that.
Dark chocolate.
Right. Yeah, I understand. I know the difference
Good.
because I had to watch my sugar for a while, and the dark chocolate was something delightful that I was allowed to get into a little bit once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Good. Now, what happens is when we're under a lot of stress, magnesium actually gets depleted from our body. And, magnesium plays 300 plus biochemical pathways in our body. So it's a very important mineral that we need to be on. One of the best ones I recommend is like magnesium citrate at bedtime or glycinate as well to get the best benefit and absorption. The other one is making sure you're getting enough protein. Protein, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So making sure your, protein is it's different based on your weight. So as we age, our protein need increases, just like with collagen. Collagen has been shown to strengthen bones and improve someone that has osteoporosis. So best way to get protein is through grass-fed beef, bison, chicken, turkey, lamb, fish.
Free range, right?
Free range,
Yeah.
And nuts and seeds. Now, when we come down to the toxicity component, making sure that your protein intake is coming all from free range, grass-fed, grass-finished. What happens is when you're not consuming these clean variations is that these type of proteins, they're being mass produced, and they're being mass produced with antibiotics. They're being fed grains such as corn, and this alters our microbiome. It causes issues within our gut. And when we look at our gut system, there's very close linkage with leaky gut and osteopenia. So that's where all the minerals don't get, or even vitamins don't get absorbed efficiently and effectively. So you want to make sure if you have these conditions that you're working with a healthcare provider in getting to the root cause of the leaky gut issue, and then making sure you're putting all the proper nutrients like the calcium, the vitamin K, the magnesium in the body correctly.
Sometimes you need to consult somebody like Joanne about this, because just taking some supplements isn't enough. Sometimes you have to take other supplements to help the supplements you get do the thing, like the magnesium for the calcium.
Exactly.
You need both, but you need a right balance of both.
And what's really good is they look at what you're taking and making sure you're supplementing it with the right one, because with calcium, there's so many different sources out there. You want to make sure you're taking a proper ratio of calcium, magnesium, vitamin K as well. Right. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Joanne's Nutrition World or myself at our office. If you have any particular questions, you can always text me. My number is 772-345-0060. When it comes to nutritional recommendations or just support for osteoporosis or osteopenia.
Okay.
When you're taking these minerals, like if you're on any of the magnesium, calcium, you want to make sure it's coming from a chelated source. So I know Joanne, she has top line products in her store that will help and make sure it is chelated. What that means is your body is absorbing it efficiently and effectively. It's not being passed through the body. We have at our fingertip the computer, the internet.
All the
Dr.
information.
Google, yeah,
everything,
Dr.
all of it.
Facebook, and unfortunately, we're led into astray and not led correctly. So make sure if you have these conditions, that you're getting it from qualified places like Joanne's Nutrition World, or you're dealing with a functional medicine holistic doctor.
That's right, a real physician.
Yes.
Of course, you always want to consult your physician, always,
but not the ones that are quick to put you on a medication.
Right. They're too
Yes.
quick to put you on a medication. There could be error, which you can't afford error. We
You
don't
know,
want
for
any
example, Cliff, I just had a patient that a new patient that came in, and she's come in for heartburn issues, and they put her on omeprazole, and after 3-4 adjustments, her heartburn went away through nutritional recommendations, and she no longer has to take that. And so you have to look at the side effects of some of these medications. It does decrease bone mass, and it does set you up for future need of other medications. A big one that I see a lot of patients taking for osteoporosis and osteopenia is Prolia, the injection, the once a month injection. And so there's been a lot of side effects with this medication, such as low back pain. So here I am, I'm the chiropractor trying to fix someone's low back pain, but yet when we look at their medications, it's a side effect. So
sort of like an oxymoron.
Exactly, yeah. And the long-lasting one, which was Fosamax, actually has a black label on it that it can increase the risk of fractures. So you're taking this medication, and what it does is clinically, when you look at the blood work, it helps with the calcium absorption, but it doesn't go into the bone.
Oh, no.
So it actually increases your risk for fractures. The big one with Prolia or any kind of bisphosphonate drug medication is osteonecrosis of the jaw. So it's basically the dying of the bone, the jawbone.
Wow.
So there are different and natural alternatives for these medications once you're guided through a proper healthcare provider.
I'm thinking, is there a chiropractic procedure to adjust a jaw?
There is.
Really?
There is.
Oh, no.
Yes. So Tmj Issues, and I deal directly with that. Some patients do come in for just having their TMJ joint adjusted. What happens is when your head shifts forward due to sitting for a long period of time, with gravity,
and cell phone
text neck, with gravity being displaced disproportionately, it does put stress on the two pin-like projections, the joints of the jaw, and put stress on those joints and causes the muscles to become more inflamed or irritated. And so with a spinal or cervical neck adjustment and adjusting the jaw joint itself helps to alleviate those conditions.
Wow.
Yes, and so it's better than taking any type of medication.
Well, yeah, and of course the doctors want to give you medication first, and what we want to do is we want to check around. We want to check around for our own selves first. Always consult a physician before anybody tells you what you should take for something.
Yes.
But even supplements, and supplements are cool. They're very helpful. They're very handy, and they work.
Yeah,
but
there's a time and place for medicine, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer that we shouldn't be on medication for a long period of time. It's
Right.
there to get you through something while you work with someone else, like a holistic provider, to get you off of that medication.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not how the medical world really works. So you want to make sure you're working with someone that has the credentialing behind, supplementation, making sure you're getting the right supplements in the body to get you off of these medications.
Now there are more and more medical doctors out there that are getting wise to this now.
They are.
They're actually
yes.
able to. Some of them can refer. I wonder if has Joanne ever referred by a doctor ever sent anybody to Joanne?
Yeah.
For supplements?
Yeah, I get quite a few patients from
Okay.
doctors' offices as well. And
they're coming around.
They
I know it was
are.
a big riff years ago. It was. I remember when it was a new thing, and that it was doctors versus nutritionists, and
Yes.
and some. I think we started one of our first radio shows was sort of a debate type of a show with a doctor and a nutrition specialist, and that was a bitter ending.
Well, I think it is too. Is the consumers? People are getting more aware of what's going on, so they're asking better questions. And so once they ask their doctor these questions, they don't know, so they start referring out to somewhere else, because they don't have the answer. And so, as us as consumers, we have to be our best healthcare advocates and always seeking out knowledge, always seeking out, the latest cutting edge research on conditions. And so dialing into these types of shows, being on the radio show with Joanne every week, making sure that you're gaining this knowledge, because at the end of the day, your health is in your own hands. Yeah. And so what I tell my patients after their adjustments is their power is on, because their brain is now able to communicate effectively to every single organ, cell, and tissue. And, we have the best doctor within us. We just need no interference. And there's certain things in our lives that interfere.
That sounded so profound. Oh, my gosh, no interference.
Yeah, we just need no interference. And once the interference comes about, not to harp on them, but medical doctors, they'll give you a medication to help with that organ, right? That will get you through something, but it doesn't solve the real underlying issue.
What bothers me is I see people that are on medication, but they're just not on medication. They'll take 30 pills a day.
Yes, the average, this statistic came out from Medicare. The average 60-year-old takes 12 medications a day. Oh. That's crazy. I can't imagine 12
Well, some of those
pills.
Medications counteract the side effects of the other medications.
So they got to put you on one, yes.
And then they're like they were. The world was anticipating nuclear war at one time, and they have missiles, anti-missile missiles, and anti-missile missiles, and it's the same in the nutrition area too.
Yes,
because you've got all these.
Cliff, we make this very easy for our community. So I do monthly workshops in my office, and so the next workshop is actually going to be geared towards toxins. And so one toxin that I forgot to mention about today that actually increases your chances of having osteoporosis and osteopenia is the Triclosan. Triclosan is found in hand sanitizers and even toothpaste.
Oh, how handy.
Right?
And how available.
What this does, it actually acts as an endocrine disruptor chemical. Okay. So what it does, it actually disrupts our thyroid gland from producing our thyroid hormone. So this increases and decreases our body's ability to lose weight, gain, and actually concentrate and control our temperatures. So making sure you're decreasing these toxic loads. And so I make it very easy. We have a workshop that's coming up on March 23rd at 6 p.m. at my office. And for anyone listening, my office is Tradition Family Chiropractic. We're located right in Tradition in the Target Plaza. This workshop's going to be at 6 p.m. on March 23rd.
All right.
And it's spring clean. What that means is we're going to be teaching how to decrease our toxic load while we're spring cleaning our house, even our bodies. A lot of the chemicals that we use or that people are using in their household, or even what we're putting on our bodies, can cause too much osteoclast activity. So that's the bone breaking down cell. So can break down our bone, can break down our lung function, and so we're going to be teaching how to decrease these chemicals in our toxic lives.
Wow.
Yes.
You're listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition. Dr. Ravi is our special guest host today, and he's out of Tradition. Tradition, it's called the Target Plaza.
The Target Plaza,
that's where you're
yes.
at in there. And you're going to have this workshop, 6 p.m., March 23rd. Now, should they give a call?
They should. How about them? They text us.
Okay.
Yeah, they can text us at 772-345-0060. Okay. Let us know how many guests you are bringing with you as well. So that, so that way we can make sure we have a seat saved for you.
Right. It's important to have enough sitting. All right.
And Make sure Joanne's still running her special on her detox bath, foot bath, which is also great because that detoxes the body, gets chemicals out, and
that's probably one of the many subjects that you'll talk about at these workshops.
I will.
Detox.
Yes. And if someone comes out, they might win a special to her store for the detox bath.
Oh, okay. So mark
Isn't that enticing?
Oh, yes, because the 23rd, 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
At Tradition Family Chiropractic in the Target Plaza at Tradition. You don't want to miss this one. And you could, text ahead and tell Dr. Ravi who you'd like to bring with you or how many you'd like to bring with you. You can bring your friends. 772-345-0060. Let them know, right?
Yes, wow. Perfect. And of course, Joanne offers her supplements at her store. So if you have any questions on proper supplementation, calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, vitamin D, and you are in her store, be sure to stop in and ask her, make sure that you're taking the right thing, right source. Also, if you're a patient of mine listening and you want to look at your supplements and you want to make sure you're taking the right thing, please be sure to see me after your adjustment.
But when you stop by Joanne's store, be sure to ask about trying one of those infrared saunas.
Oh, yes.
I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah, great benefits for energy, getting more blood flow, circulation through the body.
Absolutely.
Mitochondrial health, very important.
Well, I think the folks learned something today in that Coca-Cola and drinking
leaches calcium out of the body, yes.
Yeah, and leaches it out. You need it. Don't be drinking that stuff.
Drink water with some lemon, flavor it up, put a tea bag in your water, and have fun with it. It doesn't have to be soda.
Joanne's also got the Collagen for you.
Yes.
Dr. Ravi, well, he's not just pulling your leg, but he's got your back.
Yes.
He's a chiropractor.
Thanks for having me, everyone. I look forward to seeing you guys on the third Thursday next month.
All right, and we'll be... well, we might have went through a couple of those alphabetical topics this morning because we previously had A, and this morning was bones.
It'll be C next time.
Yeah, we mentioned calcium and probably a few other good things. We mentioned vitamin D. We got almost. I thought we got almost something to vitamin K. But hey, it's all straight ahead in the future on this show, heard on Thursday mornings in the 10 o'clock hour. Joanne's World of Nutrition from Joanne's Nutrition World, downtown Fort Pierce, US 1, at Orange Avenue across from City Hall. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie. It's 11 o'clock.